What's wrong with IGI? Hello. If you've experienced the game Project I.G.I, you know it was one of the best first-person shooters from the early 2000s. Despite its huge popularity, the game had several issues, some of which were even strange compared to other games of its time. Now that it seems IGI Origins might not be coming anytime soon, let's at least talk about IGI 1, the game that introduced this franchise to everyone, discussing its strengths and weaknesses. From the very start, the game immerses us in its atmosphere. The alarm noise, usage of silent weapons, and the way missions are structured teach us a lot in the first 2 levels. By level 3, our main mission to find Priboy begins. However, one of the biggest issues in the entire game arises here. The number of weapons we can carry is a problem, as David Jones seems oblivious to the fact that he'll have to run for miles in some stages. But this isn't unique to IGI, other famous games like Max Payne or Metal Gear had similar issues. The only real limitation we face is the number of bullets we can carry. Another problem that's less common in games of that era is the lack of harmony and balance between weapons. For example, with the MP5 SD, there's no need to use loud, short-range weapons like the Glock 17. The Uzi feels almost useless, and the sound design for some guns, like the Dragonet, is quite odd. Weapon design also had its issues. For example, the safety and reload mechanism for the AK-47 were reversed. These design flaws didn't stop there. In IGI, they had a surprise for the final level, but due to a coding error, the surprise was incomplete. As a result, we never got to see the reload animation for the Anaconda Colt weapon. If you're curious about where this weapon was and want to learn more secrets of IGI, I have a complete video on it, and you can check it out through the link above and help others see it too. Now, let's move on to the other problems with IGI. In IGI, there was no save system. You either completed a level, or you had to start everything over. And of course, you probably remember the strange levels like Border Crossing, Eagle Nest 2, and most importantly, the final level of the game. I remember after trying countless times, when I finally reached the final battle with Ek and lost, I was so frustrated that I didn't play the game again for a long time. Of course, this issue was different in IGI 2, which had a more challenging gameplay, but at least we could save the game a few times. The weapon layout, the number of weapons you could carry, and how they functioned were also completely different in IGI 2, although we lost the freedom of the first version. Let's move on to the next issue. One of the most obvious problems was that throughout the game, we mostly fought Russian soldiers, but none of them spoke Russian. Interestingly, this mistake also led to one of the fondest memories for many of us, the famous line, "Hey you."
Hey you! Stop there!
Speaking of the
soldiers' language and dialogues,
all the soldiers and characters in the game were male, except for Ek and Anya. However, if you've fought Ek, you probably noticed that her voice when shot was the same as the male soldiers. In the cutscene of level 7, however, this character spoke and was voiced by a female actress.
This is Russian Air Control. You are now entering sovereign airspace.
This one was also fixed and improved in IGI 2. But, almost.
This is boring. Nothing's happening here. I don't know why security is so tight. Yeah, I agree.
The game's locations were completely fictional and lacked any real-world basis. This was somewhat fixed in IGI 2. Next one, AI. Actually, it doesn't need any discussion. Let's just watch.
fading bodies. Well, since the games were supposed to display on lower systems, it's understandable. Metal Gear Solid 1 was the same, but for example, Max Payne was not like this.
And now, the most famous problem with IGI. Glitching. The game was full of random bugs and glitches. Is there anyone here who hasn't seen the strange glitch in the final level on the internet? In IGI, you could suddenly fall through a building, pass through walls or hills, or see a soldier walk through a door without opening it. Now, as we reach the end of the video, tell me, what other issues do you know about this old, beloved game? Despite all its mistakes, this game created unforgettable memories for all of us. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.
I've taken out most of X Force above the ground. There's bound to be some more skulking about like rats. Anya, Harrison, we need to stop moving underground. We need intel.
I'll access the networks. You'll have that intel shortly. Collect the weapons cache. Proceed to the training fort. Ride the cable car up to the peak of the mountain. David, I've managed to access building plans for the fort. My man in Moscow came up trumps.